What's up everyone and welcome back to the MMA Buzz. MMA fans are buzzing as the UFC 321 eye poke controversy continues to dominate headlines, sparking serious discussions about potential rule changes. Veteran referee Herb Dean, one of the most respected officials in the sport, addressed the issue in an interview with Helen Yee Sports, confirming that the problem is finally being taken seriously. Herb stated, "Enough people are fed up with the eye poke situation that something is going to be done. We have to try something. People have already been talking, and there's going to be a meeting where we go over it. But yes, definitely something's going to happen." He went on to reveal that an official meeting is scheduled for November 4th to discuss possible amendments to the rules, adding that while the sport has been hesitant to make drastic changes in the past, the current momentum feels different. Joining the conversation, UFC lightweight Dan Hooker shared his perspective on the incident involving Tom Aspinall. Known for his toughness and no-nonsense attitude, Hooker admitted that even he would have stopped fighting if he were in Aspinall's position. Reflecting on the severity of the incident, Hooker said, "If I'm Tom Aspinall, I'm leaving. I tell myself I always make smart decisions, but that one, nah, that was bad, bro." When I saw the video at first, it looked like the finger barely touched him, but then I looked again and saw the other finger. It was like he was trying to dig his brainstem out. When asked whether he would have continued the fight, Hooker didn't hesitate. "No, we're stopping. We've had enough of it. In theory, it always sounds good to keep going, but in practice, you're stopping," he said firmly. This growing frustration among fighters, referees, and fans alike underscores the urgency for reform. With prominent figures like Herb Dean leading the conversation and fighters such as Dan Hooker openly supporting change, the MMA world now waits to see if the promotion will finally implement measures to prevent such dangerous incidents from recurring. A long overdue step toward protecting athletes, and please subscribe to our channel and hit the bell icon for latest MMA updates. We truly value your support and need your help to grow. Move on to another news. Khamzat Chimaev continues to prove that he's never afraid to test himself against bigger, stronger opponents, and his latest sparring story is no exception. The undefeated Chechen powerhouse recently trained with fellow Russian and UFC heavyweight Alexander Volkov, who is coming off an impressive win over Jailton Almeida at UFC 321. That bout showcased Volkov's resilience as he spent much of the fight on his back, defending against Almeida's relentless wrestling attacks. In a recent interview, Volkov's training partner and rising Russian prospect Roman Lukashevich opened up about how intense those sessions were and revealed what it was like when Chimaev and Volkov went head-to-head in sparring. According to Lukashevich, the sessions were nothing short of explosive, with both men pushing each other to their physical and technical limits. Chimaev, known for his ferocious training intensity, has made headlines before for going full throttle in the gym. Even Sean Strickland, a fighter notorious for his own aggressive sparring, once told Chimaev to tone it down during their time at Extreme Couture, an ironic comment considering Strickland's own reputation for roughing up influencers and less experienced fighters. Despite that, Strickland has also voiced his determination to face Chimaev in the octagon someday, believing he's the only one capable of dethroning the undefeated star. What makes this sparring matchup particularly intriguing is the size difference. Volkov competes at heavyweight, while Chimaev typically fights at middleweight. Lukashevich described it as a true clash of styles and strength. Khamzat's takedown game is incredibly strong, but it's almost impossible to catch Alexander in a submission. He added that Volkov's striking remains world-class. It's very difficult to stand and trade with him. His striking is at an elite level. When asked how a hypothetical fight between Chimaev and Almeida might look at light heavyweight, Lukashevich was cautious but confident in Chimaev's skill set. "Almeida isn't a big guy, while Khamzat is a massive middleweight. I don't like to speculate too much, but technically speaking, Chimaev has better overall MMA wrestling than Almeida and most of the heavyweights." Move on to another news. Kamaru Usman has finally shared his thoughts on a potential showdown with Ilia, a matchup that's beginning to gain serious attention among MMA fans. With UFC 322 just weeks away, featuring Islam versus JDM for the welterweight title, speculation is already heating up about what comes next. One of the biggest storylines involves Topuria's possible move up in weight as he eyes double champ status. But what many haven't considered is the intriguing possibility of Usman and Topuria, once sparring partners finding themselves at the top of the same division. Topuria's rise has been nothing short of meteoric. His dominance at featherweight and his bold ambitions to move up have positioned him as one of the UFC's biggest new stars. Meanwhile, Kamaru, the former welterweight king, remains hungry to reclaim gold. That potential collision course was exactly what Usman discussed in a recent episode of his Pound for Pound podcast. Addressing the future of the division, Usman revealed that his next opponent will likely be either JDM or Islam, depending on how things unfold at UFC 322. However, he admitted he isn't certain whether he'll face the winner or possibly the loser of that matchup. Turning to the Ilia situation, Usman explained that he doesn't believe Ilia plans to stay at welterweight permanently. The thing is, Usman said, I don't think Ilia is trying to stay here. If he does come up, he's chasing a fight, not a division. He's not looking to clean out welterweight. He's targeting specific names. If Islam ends up being that champion, then Ilia could move up. But Ilia is the kind of guy who'll find him anywhere. Fighting, winning, hiding. It doesn't matter. Usman went on to explain that even if Topuria were to capture the welterweight belt, he doubts it would be a long-term move. Honestly, I don't think he stays at welterweight, he continued. Why would he want to stick around and face all these massive, dangerous guys? It would probably be a one-off. And the real question is, would the UFC even want that? They don't usually like it when fighters jump divisions just to grab a belt and leave. Usman's comments highlight both the excitement and uncertainty surrounding Ilia's ambitions. While fans would love to see the fiery featherweight test himself against elite welterweights like Usman, questions remain about whether the UFC or Ilia himself would commit to that long term. Move on to another news. Khamzat Chimaev is once again dominating headlines, but this time, not for his dominance in the octagon. On a recent episode of the Jackson podcast, Rampage Jackson, TJ Dillashaw, and Bobby Green openly criticized Chimaev's fighting style, calling it boring and lacking entertainment value. Despite all three having trained with Chimaev in the past, and even supporting his career early on, they didn't hold back in their assessment of his recent performances. TJ Dillashaw explained why Chimaev seems to get away with delivering underwhelming showings inside the cage. He noted that while fans recognize Chimaev's skill and control, the entertainment factor is missing. I see the dominance, and I appreciate how good he is at what he does, Dillashaw said. But there's a fine line. We watch this sport for excitement, for knockouts. That's why I fought the way I did. I could just wrestled and held guys down. But I wanted to create highlights. I wanted to see myself on a reel knocking someone out. His comments echo a growing sentiment among fans who admired Chimaev's grappling and discipline, but crave more action and risk-taking inside the octagon. Adding to the debate, Alex Pereira's coach, Glover Teixeira, recently criticized Chimaev's sparring habits, claiming the Chechen star often goes too hard in training, especially against less experienced fighters. Teixeira described Chimaev's gym sessions as overly aggressive, crossing the line between competitiveness and recklessness. Even Chimaev's former sparring partner and current contender Nasruddin Imavov, who is expected to challenge for the middleweight title in spring 26, confirmed that training with Chimaev is always intense and unforgiving. Bobby Green also weighed in, pointing out how the UFC's current culture has shifted towards safety and strategy rather than risk and entertainment. Guys fighting for belts just want to win, Green said. They're playing it safe. Rampage Jackson agreed, but added an important perspective. Fighters like Chimaev are in a unique position because of the massive support they receive from their home countries. They've got the whole nation behind them, he explained. In the US, if I just lay and pray my way to a win, I'm not going to be popular. I'm not making money outside the cage, but over there, it's different. They're treated like royalty, no matter how they win. Wow. Move on to another news. Alex Pereira has finally shared his reaction to the controversial ending of Tom Aspinall vs. Cyril Gane at UFC 321, an event that has continued to stir debate among fighters and fans alike. The fight was stopped after a pair of brutal eye pokes left Aspinall unable to continue, sparking heated discussions about whether he should have fought on. Speaking on the MMA Hour podcast, Pereira offered a balanced take on the situation, addressing both sides of the argument. I mean, we know he wasn't doing great in the fight, Pereira began. But we've seen situations where a guy isn't doing well, Then something happens like a penalty, and the momentum shifts. Some people are saying he was faking it. Honestly, you can't say that. Pereira went on to analyze the incident in more detail, pointing out that the second poke seemed particularly severe. "It's hard to understand," he said. One poke looked deeper in the eye. He didn't complain about it, but he grabbed the other one from the outside. We don't really know how bad it was. Only Tom knows how compromised he truly felt in that moment. He reminded fans that Aspinall has consistently dominated his opponents inside the octagon and has never been known to quit easily. "This is a guy who's wiped out almost everyone he's faced," Pereira added, suggesting that accusations of exaggeration were unfair. Meanwhile, comparisons have been made between Aspinall's situation and Daniel Cormier's infamous eye poke incident during his trilogy fight with Stipe Miocic at UFC 252. Cormier continued to fight, despite vision loss, but he recently addressed those comparisons, saying that Aspinall deserves understanding, not criticism. Speaking on his Good Guy, Bad Guy show, Cormier said, "Aspinall's obligation is to walk out of that octagon with the belt. Your chances of doing that drop dramatically when you're fighting with one eye. I fought Stipe for a round and a half after he poked me, and I wasn't the heavyweight champion anymore. I knew that was my last walk to the cage. Of course I kept fighting. But Tom's situation is different, as Younger still has his career ahead of him, and I think he deserves a little grace." Both Pereira and Cormier's comments reflect a broader truth. While fans want warriors who push through adversity, fighter safety must remain the top priority. Move on to another news. Max Holloway has expressed strong interest in facing Charles Oliveira for the BMF title, setting the stage for a potential blockbuster rematch nearly a decade after their first meeting. Following Oliveira's latest victory at UFC Rio, the former lightweight champion called for a fight with Holloway, and the BMF champ quickly responded, confirming he's more than willing to make it happen. Fans will remember that the two first met in 2015, a fight that ended abruptly when Oliveira suffered a neck injury early in the bout. At the time, reports claimed it was due to a small tear in his esophagus, but later medical evaluations revealed no significant issue. The unexpected ending left many wondering what could have been, and now both fighters appear eager to settle the score once and for all. Speaking to MMA Junkie, Holloway addressed both the call-out and the history between them. "That's the fight I want. That's the fight a lot of people want to see," Holloway said. "We have history. There aren't too many true BMFs out there right now, but Charles Oliveira is definitely on that short list. So you're telling me I get to defend the BMF belt against a guy who's respected, who I have unfinished business with? Let's go figure it out." Holloway also took a subtle jab at how their first fight ended, questioning the legitimacy of Oliveira's reported injury. "If you guys really did your research, nothing was ever found when he got released from the doctor," Holloway noted. "People can say what they want, but at the end of the day, there wasn't an actual injury confirmed. That's why I'd love to run it back. He's done great things since then, and it's time to find out how it really goes this time." With both men sitting among the most respected names in modern MMA, a Holloway versus Oliveira BMF showdown would not only settle old debates but also deliver a clash between two of the sport's most dangerous finishers, a true test of toughness, legacy, and pride.